Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors want to win now because the window is closing for several veteran players. And if the team doesn't perform well in the regular season, some players will be traded and the Warriors will begin a complete roster overhaul, with Stephen Curry the only guaranteed veteran. 4 players will leave the Warriors if the team has a poor start to the season. The Golden State Warriors have only one thing in mind heading into the 2025-26 season: to win a title. While things haven't exactly been moving for the Warriors this offseason, with the Jonathan Kuminga situation putting a pause on their dealings in free agency. In fact, the long-rumored Al Horford signing hasn't been finalized just yet, which goes to show how the Kuminga saga has cast a huge dark cloud on the entire franchise. Nevertheless, once the Kuminga situation reaches its natural conclusion, by the 1st of October, there should be a resolution to this ordeal already, with Kuminga having to decide whether or not to accept the qualifying offer by the said date. At this time, the Warriors have so much leverage, especially when cap space around the league has dried up and there remain plenty of obstacles to a potential sign-and-trade agreement with, say, the Sacramento Kings. But at full strength, the Warriors showed last year that they could compete with anyone, with the addition of Jimmy Butler breathing new life into the Stephen Curry and Draymond Green-led core. They went 23-9 since the trade deadline, 23-7 with Butler, and pulled off a first-round upset against the Houston Rockets. If it weren't for Curry's injury, they may have even made it past the Minnesota Timberwolves. What's clear is that the Warriors have a great sense of urgency to make things work around Curry. And with that time pressure dawning on the Dubs, they must entertain trade ideas involving these players. Jonathan Kuminga is not long for the Warriors. Whatever ends up happening between now and October 1st, one thing's for sure: Kuminga and the Warriors are about to part ways. Kuminga has been longing for a bigger opportunity all his career, and after 4 years of being shuffled in and out of the Warriors' doghouse, he may no longer have the patience to wait for Curry to retire and be the man in the Bay. As long as Steve Kerr is the head coach and Curry is active, Kuminga is never going to get his big break with Golden State. Kuminga is such a talented yet polarizing player. He can fill up the scoring column with ease, and he has been expanding his offensive repertoire. He is a legitimate threat to average 20-plus points per game over a full season, but his feel for the game on either end needs a lot of work, and he doesn't have the intangibles to flourish in the Warriors' complex, motion-based system. But one must remember that the Warriors cannot change the player Kuminga is. He cannot overhaul his entire play style, he can only improve upon what's already there. The relationship between the two parties appears to be strained beyond repair, and it's a smart move for the Warriors to eventually part ways with the 22-year-old forward. Of course, keeping the asset is the #1 priority, hence the stalemate between the two sides. But eventually, the Dubs have to trade him away and cash in before the league comes to the conclusion that Kuminga is a finished product and that he is who he's shown himself to be, a volume scorer who may have some trouble fitting in winning systems. Dubs to give up on the 2021 draft class, part ways with Moses Moody? The Warriors are in a pickle. Their cap situation dictates that they would have to part ways with one of Moses Moody or Buddy Hield so they could facilitate a Kuminga sign-and-trade. That would gut the team's depth, which is the last thing any would-be championship contender would want considering the precedent both the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers set last season. Moody seemed to come into his own following the addition of Butler, but he lost a bit of steam towards the end of the year and was borderline unplayable in the playoffs. That was quite the stark contrast from his previous playoff appearances, when he looked like he was ready to hear his number called anytime, especially during the 2022 NBA playoffs. But Moody was hurt during that time, explaining his poor play. But Moody is only 23 years of age, and he drilled a career-best 1.7 triples a night. Moody is a more seamless fit within the fabric of the Warriors roster than Kuminga ever is, and his departure would hurt more considering how important having wings who can defend multiple positions and shoot threes. Nonetheless, the Warriors have to at least entertain the idea of trading Moody away if only to pull off a trade that, without a doubt, would improve the squad. Is Buddy Hield safe? All in all, Buddy Hield's first season as a Warriors player was successful. He did end up cycling in and out of the starting lineup, but he fits the team to a T. The Dubs love their elite marksman around Curry, and it's hard to find anyone better from a volume three-point shooting standpoint than Hield. Hield had plenty of moments in his first season in a Warriors uniform, most notably tearing the Rockets apart in Game 7 of the first round of the 2025 NBA playoffs. While his defense leaves a lot to be desired, the Warriors will want to find alternative courses of action before they even think about trading the veteran sharpshooter. Jimmy Butler, the ultimate failsafe. This is not to say that the Warriors should actively shop Butler. After all, Butler has established himself as a valuable member of the franchise, both on and off the court, and he's an esteemed playoff performer who could have had another classic postseason run had it not been for his tailbone injury. But on the event that a player of Giannis Antetokounmpo's caliber requests a trade to the Warriors, then Butler should not be safe. In fact, by that point, only Curry should be guaranteed a spot on the roster. Of course, that scenario coming to pass is very unlikely. Be that as it may, the Warriors have to prepare for all possibilities, and who's to say Antetokounmpo wouldn't be fed up eventually considering how uninspiring the Milwaukee Bucks roster is at present? Warriors must come to terms with harsh reality to have any chance at another title. The star trio is built for the playoffs, but it may not be ideal for the regular season. The Golden State Warriors have built their roster with the ambitious standard of producing a fifth championship in 11 years. It's an admittedly realistic goal, as the top-end talent assembled has the experience and pedigree to justify the lofty expectations. In order for the Warriors to realize that dream, however, they must come to terms with a simple reality: the current team isn't ideally built for the regular season. Few teams are better equipped than Golden State to have a chance at winning any postseason series they play in. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are four-time NBA champions, with the former still torching opposing defenses and the latter finishing as a finalist for the 2024-25 Defensive Player of the Year award. Furthermore, Jimmy Butler has led teams to the NBA Finals on 2 occasions since 2020, earning the nickname Playoff Jimmy for his uncanny ability to raise his ceiling under the brightest of lights. The daunting reality facing that trio, however, is that they're all at least 35 years of age. Each has defied Father Time in an almost unprecedented manner, but the grueling nature of an 82-game season can even take its toll on players in their athletic prime, let alone those on the other end of it. With this in mind, Golden State must embrace one objective above all others during the 2025-26 regular season: finding a way to pace their stars along. Warriors can't expect 35 and over stars to dominate regular season. Butler, Curry, and Green are as safe a bet as any to take over a postseason series in their respective ways, but getting to the playoffs and securing an ideal seed is another matter entirely. Golden State is well aware of that fact, as it's finished better than the number 6 seed just once over the past 6 seasons, and they won a championship during the lone exception. Butler's Miami Heat experienced similar results, with their trip to the 2023 NBA Finals coming with the added burden of winning series as the number 8 seed. As such, in order to at least avoid the play-in tournament, the Warriors will need the supporting cast to take a significant step forward in 2025-26. They hardly shoulder the full weight of a 50-win dream, but the younger players on the roster are better equipped to endure the regular season. As such, players such as Tracy Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, Quinton Post, and even 32-year-old veteran Buddy Hield need to help secure victories when the Stars need aid. Beyond stepping up when the Stars are struggling or need rest, the supporting cast must ensure that the Warriors function as a well-oiled machine rather than a top-heavy rotation. At the very least, they must prove capable of pacing Golden State through 3 quarters before the Stars close efforts out. Without the necessary balance, the task of securing an ideal place in the standings will prove challenging enough that otherwise realistic title dreams are placed in jeopardy. Thankfully, Moody and Podziemski are coming off of the best regular seasons of their respective careers, and Hield has a game-breaking jumper that can swing momentum in Golden State's favor. Jackson-Davis and Post, meanwhile, have showcased the ability to positively influence an outcome. With the Jonathan Kuminga situation still unresolved, however, the pressure is officially on those who are already signed to ensure the burden doesn't weigh too heavily on the veteran stars. Al Horford's signing could remain in jeopardy with latest Jonathan Kuminga news. This could make things complicated. As the Golden State Warriors offseason has worn on, their reported handshake agreements with numerous free agents, including veteran center Al Horford, have been put on hold as a result of the lingering Jonathan Kuminga situation. Yet, with the recent news that the Kuminga standoff will likely continue as a result of the front office's unwillingness to trade the dynamic young forward, Horford's arrival to the Bay could be delayed and even possible negated entirely. As Horford contemplates his options, among which is certainly retirement, Golden State must act as quickly as possible in order to land their prime target. Warriors' Al Horford signing could become more complicated than expected because of Jonathan Kuminga. With the Warriors attempting to bring an end to their standoff with Kuminga, the impasse has become stronger than ever. Although the two teams have come relatively close on a monetary figure, with Kuminga coming down from his initially unrealistic $30 million annual value demands, there is still considerable disagreement regarding the two parties' leverage within the framework of the deal. While the Warriors want a 2-year deal with a team option and a waiving of the no-trade clause that typically comes with 1-year bird rights contracts, Kuminga's party wants to maintain his leverage as long as possible until he hits unrestricted free agency. Therefore, with the news that Golden State likely will not entertain the Sacramento Kings' intensifying trade pursuits, it appears that the two sides are right back at square one over a month into the offseason. Now, Horford, 39, has a major decision to make. It is extremely likely that, once the Kuminga situation is resolved, the Warriors will have the cap space remaining to sign him. Yet, does Horford continue to bet on that? As free agency opened, numerous teams were rumored to have interest in Horford, including the Los Angeles Lakers, Milwaukee Bucks, and Atlanta Hawks. Although many of these teams have starting centers already, the prospect of a guaranteed spot on an NBA roster could be enticing to Horford as Golden State dawdles. Moreover, after a lengthy and successful career, and a 10-year tenure with the Boston Celtics, Horford could certainly be considering retirement as a real option rather than moving to an entirely new franchise this late in his career. Therefore, the longer the Warriors take to resolve their Kuminga situation, the more uncertain their signing of Horford becomes. Warriors trade for former top Duke recruit to bolster center depth. The Golden State Warriors made a move at the G League level that could pay center dividends down the road. Their affiliate in Santa Cruz announced a trade to acquire Marques Bolden from the Osceola Magic. Bolden was a high-ranking recruit who spent 3 college seasons at Duke. He never quite lived up to the hype there, but he did make 24 starts for the Blue Devils and won 2 ACC titles. The 6'10", 249-pound center went undrafted in the 2019 draft. He has started 2 NBA games and played in 18 total across 3 NBA seasons, appearing for the Cavaliers, Bucks, and Hornets. At the NBA level, the 27-year-old Bolden has averaged 2.4 points and 2.3 rebounds per game while making 64.3% of his shots from the floor. Bolden has shown well at the G League level in his career, putting up 10.8 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks per game. He has appeared in the G League for the Canton Crage, Salt Lake City Stars, Wisconsin Herd and Greensboro Swarm. The last 2 summer league sessions, Bolden has played for the Warriors. This summer, the big fella put up 4.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks per game in 14.8 minutes per contest. The Warriors are still waiting for their NBA center situation to play out, particularly with Al Horford, who remains a free agent. It can't hurt to add a bruising center like Bolden into the lower rungs of the organization to keep nearby just in case he's needed down the road.